Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to master 20 really potent words that are designed to sharpen your communication and just make your ideas land with so much more impact. So, let's get right into it.
You know that feeling, right? You're in the middle of writing something, maybe an email, or you're in a conversation, and you're just hunting for that one single perfect word, but it just won't come to you. It's got to be one of the most common frustrations out there.
Well, that's what we're here for, and we're not just going to be learning definitions today, not at all. We are unlocking some seriously powerful tools. So let's dive in and break down 20 words that can totally transform how you describe the world around you.
All right, first up, we're focusing on people. These are words that'll help you paint a much more vivid picture of someone's character, their appearance, and, their whole vibe and approach to life. Okay, so this slide sets up a fantastic contrast. On one side, you've got the word austere. Think severe, stern, absolutely no frills or luxury. It's like the simple, unadorned lifestyle of the Puritans. And then, on the total opposite end of the spectrum, you have crass. That's behavior that's just coarse, unfeeling, and completely tasteless. It shows this crude indifference to other people's feelings.
Now let's flip to a much more positive trait, beneficent. This is for someone who's all about doing good, through acts of kindness and charity. But here's the thing to remember. Being beneficent isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It can take as much hard work and dedication as a full-time job.
Wow. This is where you see the sheer power of one perfect word, cadaverous. It means pale, gaunt, basically looking like a corpse. The image that sentence creates is just so immediate and haunting. It's an incredibly effective way to describe a really ghastly appearance. This next pair is all about a person's inner strength, or, their lack of it. A stalwart supporter is that strong, sturdy, resolute friend. They're the rock you can always count on. The complete opposite is vulnerable, unprotected, and just open to attack. It really is the difference between being a fortress and an open field.
Okay, moving on. Let's look at a group of words that actually tells a story. Think of this as a mini narrative about actions and their consequences, from the very beginning of creation all the way to ruin.
So, our little story starts with an act of creation. To concoct something is to bring it into existence. Now, this can be literal, like concocting a delicious stew from a bunch of fresh ingredients, or it can be figurative, like concocting a clever plan, or maybe concocting an excuse to get out of doing something. It's a fantastic word for invention.
But what can be created can also be destroyed. This slide shows a pretty grim escalation of how that happens. It might start when you debase something, you lower its value or its quality. Then it gets worse. It can escalate to pillage, which is to rob and plunder with open force, like in a war. And the final, most offensive act is to desecrate a place, which means to violate something that is held sacred with absolute disrespect.
So, after all that ruin and destruction, what comes next? Restitution. This is the word for making things right. It's about restoring what was damaged, making good on a loss, and offering reimbursement. It's really the final chapter in our story of ruin and, hopefully, repair. Our third theme gets into the nuances of communication. These are the words you need for when you have to correct someone, or when you're feeling totally confused, or when a conversation just goes completely off the rails. Okay, this is a really useful one because these two words get mixed up all the time. To reprove someone is basically to scold them or find fault with them. But to disconcert them is different. That means to confuse them, to rattle their composure, maybe with a really unexpected question. So one is about finding fault, the other is about shaking someone's poise. So, let's say you've just been reprimanded. What do? Well, you try to mitigate the situation. To mitigate just means to make something milder or less severe. A perfect example is when you offer a sincere apology to mitigate someone's anger. You're trying to lessen the intensity of that negative feeling. And now for the complete opposite of useful communication, we have the word prate. This quote just sums it up perfectly. It means to talk and talk and talk in a foolish, aimless way. It is all chatter and absolutely no substance. Really, the opposite of prating is to just get to the point.
All right, our fourth section gives us the vocabulary we need to evaluate scale. How do we talk about things that are incredibly large versus things that are, completely unimportant?
And here we have two perfect words for the extremes of significance.
A grandiose plan isn't just big, it's pompous and absurdly exaggerated. Think of a movie villain with a grandiose plan for world domination that, of course, ends up being their downfall. And on the flip side, inconsequential details are just trifling and unimportant. They're the noise you have to filter out to see what really matters.
So, what do we call a person who obsesses over every single detail, even the inconsequential ones? That person is punctilious. It describes someone who is incredibly careful and exact, paying almost painful attention to all the little fine points of rules and etiquette. You know, it's a level of precision that can be admirable, but also, let's be honest, a little frustrating at times.
We've covered some absolutely fantastic words. But, knowledge is only powerful when you actually use it. So, for our final section, let's do a quick, high-energy recap just to lock in some of our most useful new terms.
Okay, knowing when to use these is everything. So let's do a rapid-fire round. Need to soften a blow or make a bad situation a little better? You mitigate it. Have a loyal, strong friend who always has your back? They're stalwart. A plan that is just way too over the top? It's grandiose. That super organized colleague who checks every detail? They're punctilious. A kind, charitable act is beneficent. And crude, unfeeling behavior is definitely crass.
And that's our tour of 20 words that really matter. But the real learning, that starts right now. The absolute best way to own a word is to use it. So my challenge to you is simple. Look at this list, just pick one, and find a way to use it sometime today. So, which one is it going to be?